Hey everyone, Tim Melvin with you from Banking on Profits down here in Central Florida. We have returned home from the scorching, dry wasteland that is the Texas Hill Country right now. Now, don't get me wrong; it's very beautiful up there. It's the first time I've been in this particular part of the Texas Hill Country along the Frio River, and it was gorgeous. But they haven't had a lot of rain, and I'm here to tell you that tubing in a river that is very low on water is literally a pain in the ass. I bounced and it just hit rocks for miles going down that river. One day of that activity was enough for me. We spent another day just kind of floating in a pool down below where the house was, but didn't try to tube any significant length of it after that. A lot of walking, a lot of being bounced off of rocks. Next time I go, I'm going to make sure there was plenty of rain first, because with another foot of water in it, it would have been just a beautiful experience. It was a great one. We had family up in the mountains. We had plenty of beef steaks, plenty of bourbon to take care of our pains from the bumps and bruises. But yeah, you won't see me tubing in a river where it hasn't been raining anytime soon. So anyway, we come back to what else but the G7 Schoolyard Brawl. Oh my goodness, how much fun has this been? Um, Trump has managed to alienate pretty much all of the other six in the G7, but particularly Angela Merkel and Justin Trudeau. A little religion got thrown into this thing when advisor Peter Navarro suggested that, I want to make sure I get the quote exactly correct, that Justin Trudeau will burn in eternal hellfire for his comments and for his trade policies. The battle has continued now that the G7 is over. Of course, Mr. Trump left early, as he said he would, to head to Singapore to meet with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. That's supposed to happen later today. At last report, the North Korean leader was hitting some casinos there in Singapore. So this is going to be an interesting meeting. We'll see how it all plays out. Not quite sure what Trump's strategy is with the G7. Yeah, there's some minor trade issues with our allies, but really I feel like they could have been worked out over a cup of coffee. Instead, we now have this full name calling, finger pointing, yelling, aggravating brawl going on. Now, I've seen Mr. Trump make some things and do some things that I thought were questionable decisions over the years, and somehow they ended up spinning around and working out wonderful, as if he had some sort of strategy going into it and everything played out the way he expected. Is that the case here? I honestly hope so, but I don't know. Angering your larger, friendly trade partners doesn't seem like a sound strategy to me, but it's the one we've adopted, and I guess we'll see how it works out. It's not going to affect our small bank stocks in any way, shape, or form. In fact, the smaller bank stocks are actually quite strong this morning, so apparently they don't really care about the G7 argument. We do have that Singapore summit. This is a potential market mover. I think we all know that. If something goes wrong, the two of them are going to meet one-on-one with just translators. Who knows what will be said, what kind of deals may be struck. You've got two very aggressive personalities with very aggressive agendas. It could all go very right. It could all go very wrong. Either outcome could move the market in a significant direction. So again, we'll see how it plays out. I was reading this morning in the Wall Street Journal and some other sources. We are starting to see some cracks in car loans. We've talked about this a little bit before, but we're seeing longer car loans made to borrowers of lesser quality, and we are starting to see the number of missed payments go up a little bit. It's not a source of huge concern right now, because the loan losses or missed payments may be creeping up a bit, but they're doing so from a very low level. Got a long way to go before they possess any sort of significant threat to the banks, except of course for those that have very car and auto heavy lending portfolios. We fortunately do not really own any of those, so not too concerned about it, but we are going to keep an eye on it, because auto and credit card loans are where signs of cracks in the economy show up first. So the economy. We do have a Fed meeting. We have three of them this week. We have the U.S. Federal Reserve, which is expected to announce an interest rate hike. Everybody's going to be really focusing on what does the language indicate about the rest of the year. There's a very mixed bag of economic data coming in. Some of it showing that the economy is maybe not as strong as we had all hoped, but we keep having these decent job reports. And so will the Fed go 2 more times, 3 more times? The market says 3 right now. Any deviation from that expectation will move the markets. We have the EU Central Bank is meeting this week, and they're expected to indicate that they are going to start cutting back on their quantitative easing programs. We'll see. Again, an announcement from them or from the Bank of Japan that deviates from normal policy could move the markets around quite a bit. Do we care? No, not really. It isn't really going to do much to our small banks unless it reaches catastrophic proportions. The only thing happening this week that could hit that definition is the Trump Kim Jong-un summit in Singapore. That if that goes wrong, that will go really wrong. What we are watching is the Russell 2000 balancing is later this month. 2 holdings are affected. Select Bank shares is in. So we'll see if that moves. The stock is not on the buy list because it does trade at a pretty healthy little premium to book value right now. First United is a focus stock in our community bank stock investor monthly service, and that is also going to be added. And we could see a little pop in buying interest in those 2 stocks. We'll be monitoring it if anything pushes them up near a level where we think about selling. Now, Old Point Financial is at a very healthy premium to book value, so it is also a hold and not on the buy list, but they're being kicked out of the index. And if there's any significant adverse reaction in the stock, we'll be tracking that and ready to take advantage of any opportunities that might create. Now, we keep talking about, and I keep talking about crypto, and the reason I keep talking about crypto is because I know you guys are hearing about it everywhere else all the time. I get the same emails that you guys get. I intentionally have email addresses set up to stay on a lot of the marketing and promotional lists from brokers, from other newsletter providers. Just, everybody else is selling a service in the financial services world. We try to stay on top of them as many as I can. And I know that there's a lot of push towards crypto. It has been all year long. Here's the thing. We got another cryptocurrency hack over the weekend in South Korea. They got away with $40 billion apparently worth of cryptocurrency. That brings the total amount of stolen cryptocurrency this year to $1.1 billion. That doesn't sound like a currency replacement to me at all, because my money is in a community bank, and if somebody hacks it and steals it, I get my money back anyway. I've got that nice thing called FDIC insurance. Not a fan of cryptocurrencies, guys, and never will be, because if they were to get big enough to be significant, the governments of the world would absolutely crush them. Bitcoin is down about 50% this year, trading below $6,700 this morning. I can handle my stocks going down 50%, but your alleged currency going down 50%, that's not very healthy. And especially I'm talking about in a very short period of time, just a little over 6 months, well, not quite 6 months now. And just really poor performance from what's supposed to be the big new millionaire maker. So I continue to advise totally avoiding Bitcoin. It's not safe, it's not secure, and I don't think that the speculative cryptocurrencies will be around for a very long time into the future, because governments don't allow competition, not direct competition with them anyway. So, all right, on to baseball. I'd almost rather not, because, oh my goodness, is this a bad baseball team up there in Baltimore. We have a couple guys who pitch well. When days they pitch very well, we don't hit. We've got a couple guys that can hit, but to win in Major League Baseball today, from positions 1 through 9, you've got to have guys who can get on base, drive in runs, or some combination of both. We have a couple of guys who can drive in runs. Don't really have any place setters at this point in time, table setters that are just real good at getting on base. It's a very sketchy kind of lineup, and its performance has been incredibly inconsistent. I just have very little hopes for this team going forward through the balance of 2018. I'll continue to watch, because I do drink enough to get through the games. So take the edge off of the pain of losing and being one of the, if not the worst team in Major League Baseball. We've got the Red Sox coming in this week, and then the Mariners at the back half of the week, and if we could pull out some kind of miracle this week, maybe it'll ignite a spark of hope. But I certainly wouldn't bet it that way. So, and the other big news, of course, Shohei Ohtani out there in California, been one of the great stories of the year. The Japanese star who pitches and bats and plays the field, been having a fantastic year so far. He's out. He's going to need Tommy John surgery. We may not see him again until 2020. So that is, for now, the end of what had been one of the hottest stories in baseball. Lots of recreational reading this last week. We had a lot of time to just kind of sit around the pool up there in Texas, and read some books. And read a couple of Travis McGee books. Working my way through a series by James Rassone, who of course writes World War III type scenarios in a fictional setting. He's got one called, very cleverly, the World War III series, and I worked my way through that during the week, and read The Saboteur by Andrew Gross, a fantastic World War II novel that I highly recommend. Got some more fun stuff coming up this week. There's a new Jack Ryan novel, and a new Gideon Crew novel from Preston and Child. So really looking forward to both of those. Also going to get back into my nonfiction game, so hopefully we'll have some more stuff to talk about there. Anyway, you'll hear more from me if you're a subscriber later this week in the weekly update, if you're a subscriber to Banking on Profits. Towards the end of the week, we'll start getting the Community Bank Stock Investor regular monthly issue ready to go out to you folks. If you're not a subscriber, guys, we have a fantastic track record. We're making money. We have 7 takeovers so far this year. We had 15 takeovers last year in the portfolio of stocks, just small community bank stocks. We have a shockingly low beta. Sleep very well at night because whatever happens in the markets just simply does not impact that much. So if you're not a subscriber, you should be. And I would urge you, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the little video description box. I would urge you to go ahead and sign up as soon as possible. Anyway, this is Tim Melvin coming from you down here in Central Florida. We've traded in the 105 of the Texas Hill Country for the much more comfortable 95 with a nice breeze down here in Central Florida. We're looking forward to a very busy news week and a very productive one. Bank stocks have gotten us kicked off to a very good Monday, so looking forward to great things this week, and I'll talk to you guys next week.